Good afternoon, everyone. Just delighted to have everybody be a part of this incredible day at the CLEE Summit. Want to give thanks to Ms. Sharon for getting this together, and all the incredible staff and excellent team choice. We've appreciated the opportunity to partner with y'all. To all the parents that are in the crowd today, thank you for investing your time and energy in your students today, and students that are here. We really want to give a special shout out to y'all for being here on a Saturday and just investing in yourselves, your future. We are sincerely appreciative of young people who take the opportunity to do that, and I promise you this time will pay you back. I'm so honored today to have two incredible ladies with me here today, Miss Mary Smith and Miss Raeshawn Cannon. They have joined us today to talk about their journeys, and I'm so excited to hear this because I can tell you I was raised by a single mother, and without a doubt, she's absolutely the inspiration of my life and absolutely why I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing today and to have grown into the person I am today. And so just want to hear a bit of y'all's journey and what y'all did to raise y'all's incredible students, kids, and just the impact that y'all have made on your community. And so we want to start off with a little bit of background. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves and how we got here today.
Okay, thank you.
The left side. You just hold it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. No relation. My name is Mary Smith, and I've had a journey. Teen mom. I had this beautiful young lady sitting to my right at the age of 17, but we made it. I won't get into a lot of it because I know he has questions that he's going to ask. But we came through it, so we'll get into it as you ask the questions.
All right. Well, let's get started. So, as y'all begin your journey, you mentioned you were 17 and you had this beautiful young lady here. Kind of take us back to the beginning and maybe those earliest moments in the journey as a young mom that began to shape y'all's path moving forward together.
I had Raeshawn this summer going to my senior year. When I first found out I was pregnant, I told my dad first because I was scared to tell my mom. Because I was a daddy's girl, so just whatever I did with dad was okay. So he assured me that we was going to get through this journey, and we did. The most difficult part about being a teen mom to me and being in school was I would have to sneak in the house, because if she saw me, that was it. I couldn't do homework or do anything else. But I had a support system. My parents were absolutely wonderful about helping me on this journey. So
Well, that's so good to hear. Starting off from those humble beginnings and those moments where you were maybe shy and not sure about how you were going to share that news, but to have the assurance of your dad and being comfortable enough to go and speak to him about what was going on. Would you define that as one of the key decisions or moments that helped you press on when things may have felt heavy at the time?
because I did have the support system of my parents, I really didn't feel the weight of having a child as a teen. The struggle came after graduation, when I wanted to go to college. But my parents, because they wasn't parents that graduated from high school, their goal was if I could just get you through high school, we're good. but I wanted to go to college. And so I tried, but that support was not there. So I delayed college till after I had my family and everything.
So obviously that was a specific moment in time where you made that decision for yourself. How did education shift things? You mentioned that your family and your first generation college student, and that was something that you had the mindset to do. How did that shift y'all's family trajectory and that dynamic within y'all's family?
Right. I didn't actually start college till after I was married and divorced, because I married someone that did not want me to go to college, wanted me to stay home and have children. So after we divorced is when I enrolled in college. But even before I got to that point, with my children, when they were in elementary is when I started talking about college to them. I have two sons as well, and with my sons, I've told them, I said, you're either going to the military or you going to college, because one thing I don't do is take care of grown men. So you gonna have to do something to take care of yourself. And so both of them was like, well, we're not going to the military. I said, well, okay, well, you need to do what you need to do in high school to get a scholarship. And so they did, thank God. My oldest son went to college on the football scholarship, and my youngest son went to college on track scholarship. I wasn't too worried about my daughter here, because she was always just the perfect daughter. Oh, she said so I thought. But I didn't have, I mean, she thought she was one of the girls. I had nieces the same age as I am. So she just grew up with us. So she thought she was one of the girls. So I never really had any problems with her as far as academics and, you know, being at school or anything like that. So she wasn't the problem. I was mainly concerned about my boys because of the climate that we were in. And I told them, I don't want to hear anything about I joined this gang because I needed this, I needed that, and other. I said, I'm your gang. I'm your gang leader. So that's the only gang we talking about up in here. So I kind of kept them on the straight and narrow, because I started when they was little. I'll kill you. So I got my bluff in early on them. So it wasn't none of that. You know, they know Mama didn't play.
There you go. There you go.
Mama did not play, because I knew I had to do this as a single parent, and I had to work. And so I needed to trust them to do what they needed to do while I was working.
Right. Well, I think I've heard some of those similar words. I brought you in this world, and I'll take you out. And I think we can all relate to that from a strong mom, and just really giving us that direction that we need and the motivation we need to do what's right, even when mama's not around. And so, Raeshawn, as you look at your mom as an inspiration, I can certainly remember those times that my mom operated out of pure faith. It was those moments of just pure faith, and I'll say mustard seed faith. I'll go that far to say that. But in saying that, you know, were those moments, or can you remember a moment where your mom demonstrated that type of faith, and maybe how that shaped you and made things to where y'all could go out there through your mom's inspiration to be a success?
Yeah, for sure. I think probably the turning point for me, as far as like just really realizing the example that she was when she was going through the divorce. Since I was the oldest, I was privy to a lot of things that my brothers weren't. Very intuitive. I didn't say a lot, but I saw a lot. And so when she decided to make that transition, when she knew that the relationship she was in wasn't healthy, and made the decision to transition out, she had only worked part-time up to that point. So you talk about a faith move, making less than $1,000 a month, and you have to go figure out how to start a life over with 3 kids. And so she shared that with me, and at that point, just seeing the strength and the courage that she exuded to say, listen, this is what we got, this is where we start, but I'm trusting God to meet us where we are. And that inspired in me just the drive to make things happen. So I was 15 at that time, and I mean, she didn't ask for it, but just seeing the courage that she had to get out there and do this. As soon as I was able to, I went and applied for a job, and I was like, well, at least I can keep some toiletries in the house. You know, so I'll go to school, I'm playing sports, and then somewhere in between, I'll work a couple of days, and then I'll take care of the toiletries. And so while I know that's not what she wanted me to do, it still just kind of instilled a strength in me that said like, hey, listen, you do your part, and then just trust God to do the rest. And so that was definitely a turning point for me.
Well, I just think that's so incredible that you just had that perspective of, I do my part, and God's gonna do His part.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we try to fill in the blanks,
Mm-hmm.
but He's so good at filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
And if we're just, obedient,
Mm-hmm.
if you will, He'll take care of the outcome. So looking back and just some of those times that you're describing, do you realize now, or have you realized that God really was working when y'all couldn't even see Him?
Absolutely.
What were some of those specific examples that you can go back to and you be like, man, God worked this whole thing out and brought it all together?
I think for me, the biggest, just being able to see it was the connections. A lot of times when we are going through the struggles or whatever, we try to hold it close to us. You don't want to share. You don't want to tell people what you're going through from embarrassment, shame, whatever it is. But we had a community, and just Sharon was a part of that. She was auntie from, I think I was 9 when I met her as my Sunday school teacher. She was everybody's Sunday school teacher. So, I met her in church or whatever, but it just became much more than a church relationship. And so, talking about God filling in the gaps, the things, she gave as much as she had, but then when she came to something that she didn't know or something she didn't have, she knew how to make the connections and put us in connection with people who had what we needed. Sharon poured into us. Any connection that she had, if you don't mess around and tell Sharon you're interested in something, that you're good at something, because she's gonna find a way to use it. And so, just making that connection or whatever there. And so just people pouring into us and giving us opportunities. The community was just beyond belief. And so now, hindsight 2020, a lot of seeing the writing on the wall now, you look back and it was like God all along, because how we got to the church was God all in and of Himself, and then the connections that we made, and just the trajectory of my career, the things that I accomplished in college. Sharon was the one that made the initial connection for me. It was through my summer job at the company that she worked for that pushed me into my career that I'm 20 plus years into now. So it's like looking back at that now, it's like, man, God, you bad. I didn't see it then, but now it's just like those crucial moments where you can look back and see, man, God, he knows the plan.
Right. So you mentioned your mom made those connections. And Ms. Smith, I want to ask you, when you hear the words, life moves at the speed of relationships, and you think about those times, what do those words mean to you? Life moves at the speed of relationships. And would you expand upon what your daughter shared with us about those things?
Yes. One thing my dad, I always say this, one thing my dad gave me was faith. And he gave me God. And so I always relied on my faith, and I relied on God when it comes to raising my children. To the point, even with them, they would want to go somewhere sometimes. It was like, I don't feel like you should go. I don't know why, but I don't feel like you should go. And they wouldn't, and later on we would find out something happened, on that. So like she said, just making those connections. If I didn't know how to do it, if I didn't have the answer, like she said, I would call Sharon. I would rely on people at my job. It's just something how God lined everything up. When I needed a job, I went back to the school that I graduated from, and the superintendent of the district, the superintendent, he said, "Oh, she's one of ours. Make a job for her." So they created a job for me. In creating that job, my principal that I had while I was in high school, he was the associate superintendent. His wife was the school secretary, and they took an interest in my children.
Wow.
And it was just like everywhere I go, someone would take an interest in my children and help me along. That I didn't know, they would help me. And like I said, I relied on faith. I relied on God. My son was a junior in high school, and I promised him that I was gonna send him to football camp, TCU football camp, his senior year. It was $250. Not a lot of money now, but it was a lot of money for me then. All I had was a $50 deposit. I said, son, we're going to put this in the mail. This is all I have. It's not refundable. So we may, if they don't get it, we're gonna be out. You're not going to camp, and we probably won't have no food either. I said, but we're gonna put this in the mail, and I'm gonna trust God. I needed that other $200 in 2 weeks. I didn't know how I was gonna get it, because when you work for the school district, it's a fixed income. You know what you gonna get.
That's right.
And I know I was going to have those $200 extra. So I stopped at the mailbox one day, and my youngest son got out, and he was walking towards the car. I said, that looked like a check, a RS check. That's when they were still mailing them, so it was a long time ago. I said, but I haven't gotten a check in forever from IRS, because a Bill my ex-husband had with them, so they take my little change. But when he got to the car, he was like, wow. I said, that is a check. They sent me a check. And me and him both was thinking, Will is going to camp. Will is going to camp. And I needed it the very next day. So he went to camp, and the very next year, IRS took my check. So, so this has been a faith journey with them. To the point, all my children, including myself, were all authors. We've all written books. Youngest son, he didn't complete college. He went, but he didn't complete it. But God opened so many doors for him until he runs a multi-million-dollar business today. My middle son, well, my oldest son, I would say my middle son, but my oldest son started a business, and things that I know they didn't know. So I know it had to come from God. And just me and them relying on God, them trusting the God in me enough to go or not go when I asked them to. That prevented them from getting into trouble, into doing things that they shouldn't have done.
Right. Well, I just love what you said there, and students, listen to me. If your parents are sharing with you, I don't think you should go. Please listen to them. I can promise you, our mothers especially, they are equipped with a sense within them that says danger, or something's not right, or something may not go the way it needs to go. So please listen to the heart of your mother when they ask, hey, or say, hey, I really don't feel like you need to go there, because I can truly, truly say that there was some similar circumstances in which my mother had that same intuition, and we didn't go, and we're grateful that we didn't. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I'm just interested, because I know, in just listening to your journey, I want to know some of those books, because I would like to go and grab some of those books and look at what y'all done. And so could y'all tell just our audience what are some of the things that y'all have written and all of those things?
So I wrote a book called 20 Beautiful Women. It's a collection of stories from 20 different women from all over the United States, just sharing their story of triumph. So I'm a part of the 20 Beautiful Women movement, so you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on my website, Raeshawn.org. I also published a leadership development course which landed me a contract with Target to do their leadership development. I'm also the chief operations officer for my baby brother's company, so just some of the things that we have working. I'm also a teaching pastor at my church, so currently publishing my third book, which is geared towards associate pastors and ministers. What do you do when you're not preaching? So that's another thing I'm working on now.
I'm trying to think of, my youngest son's book is Through the Firewall. It talks about his journey from birth to where he is now. He went all the way through school until adult is when we found out that he was bipolar. And how he just talks about his journey up until that point, and also starting his own business. And my oldest son has 2 books, I believe, Limitless and I don't remember the name of it.
It's his fitness book.
It's a fitness book. He opened up his own fitness gym, which he's later sold. Now he's a motivational speaker, so he goes around and speaks. A business consultant. Sorry, I'm getting old. And the book that I'm a part of, it was with 11 other ladies, Power Moms. We talked a little bit about our journey, and the title of mine was "It's Not How You Start, It's How You Finish."
All right.
So I was actually born in foster care, and so I think that's why my children are so dear to me, because I always wanted them to know, if nobody else don't love you, your mama love you.
Absolutely.
And so I had to work through feelings of rejection and abandonment. So that was a journey as well. So, but we've all come through it. So we're on this other side of the hill now. Yes, ma'am.
Will you also talk about all the jobs that you had as a single mom to sacrifice for your kids?
Yeah. I'm tired and broke down from it now. There were times that I worked 3 jobs at one time and went to school. And I would always have my schedule fixed where I could still support my children. Because me, thinking that I was always going to be married and have that support, I told them when they were younger, just do everything you want to do. And so they took me at my word. They enrolled and was doing some of everything. Basketball, football, softball, you name it, they did it. Choir, and I always wanted them to see my face there. So
and don't forget, they were very active in church too. So.
yes, they were very active in church. We made sure of that. And so I kind of, made my schedule. I have school 2 nights a week, and I had one job that I worked to get the discount for the clothes. Cause I said, nah, y'all gonna be dressed if nothing else. So, and I actually started working at the school where my sons were in high school, and they were like, your boys is always dressed. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm gonna make sure of that. But I did, I worked that job just during Christmas so I could get the discount. I would leave the school and go to the post office and work and just do it all over. And education is just that's my call. And when Miss Mayo was up, I was like, yeah, me too. Because the principal that I had, he said when children are acting up, you always have to see what's going on, why they're acting up. And so they, like her, they would always come to me, and after every year, my children always have a multitude of brothers and sisters. So,
All these kids coming from the school.
I love it. So back to Power Moms.
mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some powerful nuggets in that book, and I can't wait to read it. can you give us a couple of nuggets from that book and just advice maybe that you would give to moms that are coming up in a similar situation as you? Would you give us some nuggets from your book?
Yeah, sure. The thing that I learned the most was forgiveness. And people don't always come and ask for forgiveness, but you have to forgive them for yourself. It's not for them, it's for yourself. Because if you don't forgive them, it holds you hostage to them, and you can't be free. So I didn't know the circumstances of my adoption or why it happened or whatever, but in my heart I forgave her for whatever it was. I said she must have good reason. So I'm not gonna hold anything against her. And so, and just love your children. They have to be first. They have to be first. You have to put your children first. That their best interest is at heart.
That's so good. That's so good. To moms listening right now, just that power of forgiveness and putting your babies first. And again, back to the inspiration of my mom, there was not a question who was first place in her life. And so I just know your children appreciate that. And so how do you think single moms and young moms can help protect the dreams of their students or their children rather, even when they're buried in responsibility, fatigue, just all of the things that stress, all of the things that come with trying to balance the load of being able to take care of a household and the financial needs of the household?
It's just being present. Just being present, checking in, making sure you know where they are mentally, where they are academically. Because working in the school district, I would see so much. The parents would come to the school to argue about a phone, but your kid is failing, and we haven't saw your face. So as a parent, as a mother, as a single mother, it's a tremendous job. Whether you single mother or not, or married, it's still a job. Just check in with your children. Make sure you know what's going on with them. If you don't know, ask someone. And that's where I was. This girl right here, she's short, but she loved basketball. I don't know nothing about no basketball, so what I do, I found somebody that could help her with that. So if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask for resources. Don't be afraid to rely on your community if you have to. So, yeah.
So, final question. We're going to open up to the audience here for some questions. But what would you say to a mom, any mom, at this point who feels like maybe right now she's not enough, or not doing enough, or not providing enough, or not being enough? What encouragement would you give to that mom?
And as a mothers, we do sometimes feel that way, that we didn't do enough. Cause I still feel that way sometimes. It's like, I could have did this or I could have did that. But just believe in yourself, pray, ask God to lead, ask God to guide you, and He will. He'll lead and guide you to all truths.
All right. Well, we want to open up some questions for our audience, and thank y'all for being with us here today. Do we have any questions?
I guess how tough was it as being a teen mom? What kind of challenges did you face? Did you go to prom and all that stuff?
I did. As I said earlier, because I did have the support of my parents, it wasn't really, I guess it could have been tougher, but it wasn't. The only challenge I had was, like I said, coming home to do homework. I would have to actually sneak by her, or they would have to take her to their room or something, because if she saw me, that was it. She want her Mary. It wasn't the ideal situation as being a teen mom, but you know.
I think that's probably one of the challenges, is to perceive limitations,
Yeah,
what you can't do.
yeah.
Raeshawn, well, how did
Yeah.
you feel with not having the father present at the home?
So real talk, it wasn't until I started working with my therapist that I realized I had a problem with it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because like, again, because she did a really good job at surrounding us with people that I honestly didn't feel like I missed it, but it wasn't until as an adult later on, it's like certain things and patterns start showing up, oh, where'd this come from? And so unpacking those things with my therapist is like, oh, so that's the kind of thing, like you tucked it away, or you just didn't really realize, you didn't deal with it because I didn't feel like I had to at the time, because I had other people, oh, you ain't here? I bet, I got somebody that is. So it was later on in life when I realized the impact that it did have. So again, another hindsight 2020, the challenge is, try not to go all preachy, but what we understand, especially from a spiritual standpoint, that identity comes from your father. And so not having my father present in the house later on, when I'm trying to figure out who I am and understand why I am the way that I am, those questions that you have, right? And then just kind of like parents from that generation who don't like to talk about things. See, we talk about stuff. Like, we talk. But parents from that generation, like, it's more so sweep things under the rug. We ain't gonna deal with that. Like, let it go. Get over it and move on. And so there was still just a lot of unanswered questions, but I've started making them talk now, so we're getting a few answers.
Okay, and I have one more question since they not, you had one? But it was for Mr. Smith, as being a male coming from a single parent household. How did that work out for you? Because she said she had identity issues, but she didn't recognize it until she was with her therapist. So what about you?
Well, I would say that definitely played a factor as well, but I would say probably the biggest thing is what Miss Mary said about forgiveness. I had a lot of anger issues growing up, just due to some resentment I had about my father not being there. And the person that had the toughest talk with me and turned that all around was my mom. She shared with me really what Miss Mary articulated so well, that the forgiveness at that point in time wasn't necessarily for my dad. It was for me, and I can tell you that was so freeing. And that was a really pivotal moment in my life, to be able to let that go, to be able to let myself know that it's okay. And having 100% of what I needed at that time was right there in front of me. It was my mom. And that's really all we needed. And even though me and my dad, we got it together later on, and everything worked out before he went on to be with the Lord, having that at that point in time really helped me take off and do some things that probably wouldn't have happened. Just the trouble I was getting in at school.
Not you.
Oh yeah. And I'm sorry, students, y'all see me now, but good Lord got a sense of humor. I had a lot of experience in the principal's office. And so he said, we're just gonna put you in there for good. And so, but that's probably the biggest thing, and the biggest inspiration from growing up, and just seeing the character, the leadership. I talk about education all the time, the smartest person I know and the most educated person I know doesn't have all those pieces of paper I have on the wall. But she is the smartest person I know. I saw my mom read a book a week, sometimes a book in a day, and just being inspired by that, the leadership, and we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna find a way, and just the character of when things got tough, and knowing how to work through that, and power through that, really, if you will, at times, was incredible. And then probably the last piece of it is just engaging with that village that we had around us.
There you go.
Just engaging with the village. Growing up in the West Side Projects, Bryan, Texas, we had a village. And we had our Miss Sharons. And we had the people in the neighborhood that didn't let my mom do it by herself. And just the gratitude that we all had for each other at those moments in time was good. Dr. Evans?
So this question is for Raeshawn, in the sense that, while you may have gone through these experiences and they shaped you, they don't also limit you. And so could you talk a little bit about maybe the work that you've done with the company and with Target and kind of lessons you learned about leadership and management?
Yeah, so, when this is your example of a leader, you in the house with your mom, she has to take charge, she has to be the leader, and so she instilled a lot of leadership qualities. I ran from it for a while. I ain't like when people call me leader. It was like, nah, I just want to fade in the background, I want to be seen. But, as you mentioned earlier, God has a very, very keen sense of humor, and he puts you in the places that he would have you to be, and so again, just being connected with our community, taking advantage of opportunities, because she always said, if you can think it, go try it. Like, whatever you can imagine, just do it. And so whenever those opportunities came up, Sharon had asked me one time, I think I was going into my freshman year in college. She asked me if I wanted to come and work, as a file clerk, I think it was, at the company that she was working for. And I did, and just the leadership qualities that she put in, instilled in us. I went as a file clerk, but that's just not where it stopped. It's like, the leader, and he's like, all right, well, I see this. Well, can I try this? I want to learn everything. I want to consume everything. And as much as I was willing to learn, they were willing to teach. And so that led to a full-time employment opportunity. And so, again, just working with Sharon and then other people, the VPs of the company started seeing those same things in me and just wanted to invest. And so I'm going to school now full-time and then working also part-time. And thankfully, God was blessed to the point where they would allow me to bring my homework to work with me, and would allow me to apply real life examples to my homework. And so that's how I end up getting introduced to accounting. I initially wanted to go to college for broadcast journalism, but getting connected with them in their corporate office at the construction company, I learned about accounting, and so just people investing in me and stuff. And so end up finishing school. My undergrad is in accounting, and then that's what jump-started my career. So I went through accounting. So I was in accounting for 15 years, and then I transitioned over to finance. And then that kind of got me a little closer to the executive staff. So now I'm reporting directly to the CFO. That kind of changed the trajectory of my career. Again, those leadership qualities showing up again. And so I was earmarked for the company. I worked for the Department of Defense. And so I was earmarked as the next CFO for that. But my baby brother's tech company took off so much faster than he initially thought. And so what started off as me just kind of helping him get his budgeting and his operations and stuff together became an opportunity for us to actually work together. And the thing that made that so easy was the one thing that she used to always do for us when we were younger. She would line us all three of us up and say, hey, Raeshawn, who you have? I got Will and Boyd. Well, Will, who do you have? Raeshawn and Boyd. Boyd, who do you have? Raeshawn and Will. And so what she was teaching us is that we all we got, right? Mm-hmm. And so if nothing else, if nobody else has you, you know that you have two other people that always has your back. And so when my brother decided that he wanted to start this tech company, and when I say God bless and it just took off, he called and was like, hey sis, I need you. And I'm sitting up here looking at this 17-year career like, bro, I don't know about this, a startup, and I'm like, I've been investing over here, and I was like, let me pray about it. And before I could even hang up the phone, Holy Spirit was already saying, just, you know what to do. And so I quit my career and went to go help my brother, and it's been such a blessing. My and my middle brother also worked with us as well as our sales director. So it's just, I mean, literally taking those lessons that mom taught and helping each other move along, and not just in this company, but I mean, like everything, we all have entrepreneurial ventures outside of that. And so the Target thing came about because of entrepreneurial ventures. So as I was mentioning, I just kind of like, I started working in my church, and I feel like there's a business element to church that's untapped. And so like we just get people that are good at things and be like, okay, you over this ministry and you over this team, but there's no development of it. And so I didn't want my church to be that church. So I was like, hey, pastor, I need to help you help them. And so I created a leadership development program in my church. And I was like, if I can duplicate this in other churches, other organizations. And so just sitting at home one day, like asking the question, like, what are the things that I wanted when I was going through the process of becoming a leader? What are the things that were missing? What would I like to have had? And so I published a course, and I mind dumped on Twitter. It was like, yep, just finished this leadership development course, and got a direct message from one of the VPs of Target. I thought it was a scam, checked him out, he was real. And so since 2016, I've been doing leadership development for Target. And that has opened the door for other opportunities. So that's kind of like what I do in my side business outside of my corporate career.
Absolutely.
And I will say one more thing about Mary's son, her brother, is that knowing what your worth is.
Yeah.
Her brother turned down a job at DFW Airport for $150,000 a year. He turned it down. He said, I'm worth more than that. And so now he can write a check for all of us.
He turned down the job for $250,000.
Yeah.
It was $250,000 a year, and he was like, nope.
Knowing your worth.
That's it.
But he developed, and so did Raeshawn. They all have these different pockets, and they came together, and now they have a thriving corporation. It's not like I'm against my brother or my brother's against my sister. They're all working together, and that's what we need to learn how to do, is work together, and then we can have thriving communities and thriving businesses, and can help our mothers out. Right there.
She's so spoiled.
I know.
Oh, this woman is spoiled.
But she still works, and she doesn't even have to, but she chooses to work.
That's right. Because I love what I do.
Well, y'all students, do we have any questions? All right. Anybody else in the audience? Well, ladies, wow, so impactful. We really, really appreciate you all sharing your journey with us. Such an incredible and rich journey that's so relatable to a lot of people in the room. We appreciate y'all's time. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank y'all for having us.
Okay, we're gonna transition to the next group.